I'd like to share a remarkable story that transpired recently, but equally as important, I want to share the commentary of the person that shared this story with me. Not that long ago, in Beis Medrash Kavaya in Lakewood, there was a young man who was a tremendous masmid. He learned diligently from morning to night. He had a mishpacha, a wife, and children. And he literally was totally into his learning, his davening. He was Oved Hashem in the highest caliber. One day he comes home for supper, and his wife gives him, something very meager, a peanut butter sandwich. And she says, "I'm so sorry that this is all that I have to give you, but unfortunately, the financial situation is so challenging. We don't have money to buy food." And he's very taken aback. She's kind of shouldered the financial responsibility and sheltered him from what was going on. But obviously, he got to a really bad situation. And she says to him, she goes, I don't know how we can continue over here. I don't have money to buy food for the kids, clothing, to pay for the heating. It's shreklach. I'm not sure what we should do. And the husband, he all of a sudden, he's like, he's at a loss. Well, what does one do? And all of a sudden he says to her, he says, a yid's first line of defense is bitachon. Let's be mechazik. Let's strengthen our bitachon and our trust in Hashem. And Hashem will help us. She says, you're right, bitachon is important, but some random person's going to give us a check? I don't see any sikui. There's no real way that we're going to get out of this terrible situation. I don't know what to do. He says, I'm telling you, let's be mechazik ourselves in our bitachon. You and me together. And you'll see HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us out. We're on his team. We're doing his work. She says, you're right. It was difficult for me, but I'm going to be mechazik myself. And the two of them together worked on their bitachon. Within 2 weeks, the fellow's davening Ma'ariv. And after Ma'ariv, someone comes over to him and says, "Can I talk to you for a second?" He says, "Sure." He's thinking maybe the guy wants a donation. He doesn't have any money himself. The fellow says to him, I'm here. I represent a tremendous gevir, a very wealthy person. Recently, he decided he wants to try to help a few very serious, genuine young alite in a real way. Ask you a question. How are you doing financially? And the young man, he opens up and he says, "We mamish don't have money for basic necessities." The fellow says to him, "You're the person that he's looking to help. Don't worry about it. Going forward, you and your wife will be receiving a monthly check that will take care of all your financial worries. Here's the first check. Go home and tell your wife, you guys have to continue doing what you're doing, and we'll have the schus of supporting you." Keharif ayin, he went from a desperate situation, me'afeila l'ar to being able to continue and learn b'archavas hadas. That's the story, incredible story. The fellow that shared the story with me said that there are two things that we need to take to heart from this story. Number one, that bitachon works. There's no such thing as saying, how am I going to have Yeshua? Someone's going to randomly write me a check? HaKadosh Baruch Hu he gives, and for those that are b'teich b'Hashem, they get. The second thing he said, and maybe more important, is that there are still people living these days, nowadays, who are struggling and being Mesiras Nefesh to be able to do Avodas Hashem, to continue to learn. That's also something we have to take to heart. How willing to be Mesiras Nefesh are we? What are we willing to do for our Torah?